This is
about a girl. Her name is Aeve. Some call her Aeve. This is a story about a girl, and she's part of the plan of God. And nothing can ever separate her from it. She's got bravery. She's not afraid. She's not afraid of what people think. And nothing her story is a great one you will hear. After we left the church, Wendy had to go, and Melissa law was addressed to us or to the Jews. People, Brother Jackson, I want to ask you, Aeve, we want to talk are you saved about all the things and find secrets the Bible has. Just like Deuteronomy chapter 29 verse 29, the secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow all the words of this law. Aeve, now that we're here with Rabbi Birch and Jackson, you remember that we talked about, if the law was addressed to us or to the Jews. People, I want to ask you, Aeve, are you saved by your own works, or are you saved by God's works? Are you saved by your own efforts, Aeve, or by God's efforts? Tell me, Rabbi. I also ask you the same. You can be saved only by God's. You're not saved by your own efforts, only by God's. People think just because something that God gave in the Bible is addressed to all of us, and it's not. And here we're going to explain it correctly. We're going to talk to Jackson, and we're going to ask him more things about women in the Bible. And of all the things we ask, we're going to learn more secrets. But anyway, Aeve, it's important that we know the things of the woman of the Bible, but also we know that are we saved by our own efforts, or are we saved by God's? Wow, I didn't know that. This is the error. Why? Naturally we think everything's made for us. And the people before us, like people who lived in the 80s and the 70s, people who were ungrateful, and people who wanted things but don't realize that not everything was meant or addressed to them in the Bible. Some of those people are selfish, and people don't realize that humanity has a problem of being selfish and always wanting and just thinking that everything's theirs. But the people of the 80s, they were in a time when everything was about consumerism. And before that there was, but people just thought everything was bought and sold, and people would see television and see the television, and they thought everything was made for them. And people would also go to the stores and buy everything, and they think everything's like that, but it's not. You see people later on, Aeve, that there is an example that not everything was meant for us in the Bible, and people just make assumptions and become part of selfishness in their own ego that they think that everything's made for them. There are people that are born like that, and some people do it because they don't know and they're not educated, and some people do it because they're just selfish. And you see, Aeve, people don't make the questions. They don't ask themselves where things come from, if it was made for them. People don't do those things, Aeve, because they're lazy, and simply they don't go and ask where things come from. And sometimes you have to realize that when God was talking to the Israelites, when he was making the 10 covenants on the mountain, he was talking to only the tribes of Israel. And sometimes, Aeve, people do those things that we do in the Bible because of tradition. And people do those styles of, obeying the law of the 10 Commandments because we're always told in the television by people in churches to do them. But We don't realize that it's really not meant for us to do the Ten Commandments because it was directed to the tribes of Israel. Aeve. Later on, when you read about history, Aeve, you will see people wake up in the mornings, eat their breakfast, work, do their stuff, and do everything because it's tradition. They go to church on Sundays. They do the things about keeping the Ten Commandments, but they don't realize that the Ten Commandments wasn't directed to Christians. It was directed to the Hebrew people, to the Jews, to the 12 tribes of Israel. People just think it's something we all have to do. They don't question where it comes from and why and how God said it. But because people don't ask questions and don't realize it, we are Gentiles in the law. And the law is applied to us through Jesus because Jesus has said the two commandments. We need to keep them and we complete the law. Wow, I didn't know that. I just saw that government and people, they just copied each other. And they only worked and did a lot of work on making laws, but now I just realized they don't know where things come from and they might make errors. This is why people don't know about the law, Ivy. They think the whole law was directed to them. Just like in modern day society, people have laws for citizens, laws for civilians, laws for police, laws for soldiers, laws for mothers, laws for fathers. There are laws that are specific when there's many situations in the world events about, equality, receiving pension. There are laws for that. People don't realize there is balance. And sometimes we need to know that the law of the Ten Commandments was directed to Jews. And the 613 mitzvah as well. We see there are certain laws that apply to us and certain laws that apply to other things in law. Just like we see those things in modern day world. Some of the laws of the 613 mitzvah were directed not to only Jews, they were directed sometimes to their slaves, sometimes the laws were applied to the parents, sometimes they were applied to other things in the law. That's why we have to know how specific, because God is specific. That way we can do the law and not get into a mistake and fulfill the law like Jesus says. This is the error, Avi. This is why people just think things are just for them. And they think stuff is just meant for their ways. They don't realize that not everything in the world is meant for them. And they think everything belongs to them. And people make that error. That's why, Avi, you have to know that even though the Bible is written in Hebrew and people read things in English, it isn't how God said it. And the things they lived in those times isn't the same as we live today. That's why we have a problem. That's why we have an error. And that's why we're called Babylon. And God didn't give authority to countries in this world. That's another error. That's why what belongs to God is God, and what belongs to the world is to the world. Just like Jesus said about Caesar and about what's his stuff is his stuff, and what's the world stuff, it's their world stuff. But still, God didn't give authority to the world, Evie. And what belongs to God belongs to Him. And what doesn't belong to Him is what we have to find out and know the truth. That's why people don't make so many errors. And people make errors because they don't know where things come from. And it's important. That way, when we do the things of God in the Bible, we do it correctly and find out where things come from and do the truth. And find the truth. That way, people, if they don't know the truth, they won't know how to find the real things of the Bible. They won't find. And especially, they will still be in Babylon and they will still be incorrect. That is why it's important to know that God gave authority. And in the Bible, to who in the Bible says God gave authority to? When did I give you authority?
No, God, you never gave us authority. We made things up. You never gave us law.
I never gave you authority for the law you have. Judge, when did I give you authority? When you in your courthouse decided and made mistakes and sentenced people and used law when I didn't give you. No, God, you never gave me authority. I sentenced all those people because I thought I had authority. Oh, Alexander, when did I give you authority? When did I give authority to the Catholic Church to kill, to murder innocent people? When did I give you authority? No, we don't have authority. You did not give us authority. We just thought we receive authority from you, but we were not given law by you. We just took your name and did whatever we want.
Who is authority then?
Well, you see, Aeve, that God gave the law on Mount Horeb, and He gave it to Moses and His people. You don't see a flag of France there, or a flag of Mexico, or a flag of America there. You only see there the 12 tribes of Israel, and they were given the law. That's why the law is not directed to Gentiles. Jesus gave us the law. And even though people don't know, God gave authority to only one people to have laws. He gave authority to one country, and that is Israel.